Will Amazon ever offer brand gating to the masses? My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy, and that is the question that was posed on LinkedIn by Jessica Wright. Now, I personally don't think that's going to happen. I'll explain why, but here's why Jessica's posing the question. There's been a lot of new news updates, including this one from January 20th, 1970, if you believe Amazon's news feed. But this is actually brand new news. And there's an update to the unsellable inventory, updates to brand registry, and a bunch of other things that are going on. It's kind of fun to see a lot of these changes and discussion points. Amazon's definitely been evolving lately. There have even been fee changes, and Amazon's no longer a prep center. But let's dive in specifically just to the question of brand registry gating. So this is a huge demand topic. Every brand ever wants to have full control of its brand. It just makes sense. If I have a child, I want to be able to dictate what school it goes to. I want to dictate how much screen time that child gets and who's going to be the nanny, et cetera, et cetera. The same also applies to a brand. The brand is your baby, after all, as a brand owner, and you want to dictate who can touch it, who can sell it, who can change its diaper. That is a really weird metaphor on the fly. So if we think about the need, it's present. There's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of Chinese hackers coming in, hijacking listings, selling counterfeit goods. The long list of reasons why sellers want this is lengthy. But will Amazon ever do it? That's the question. Jessica writes, over the past few months, Amazon rolled out new capabilities in brand registry that change how brands manage who can access which brand benefits. Have you seen these updates? Am I crazy to think that this could be an early signs of brand gating for all brands, not just the big players? Instead of every seller account tied to brand automatically unlocking brand protections and content tools, brand registry now requires an assigned selling role. Now, the selling role is not technically new. There have been admin rights versus authorized users for as long as I can remember, 8+ years. But there are some kind of modifications, if you will. Brand representative can access brand benefits, A+ content, brand analytics, report a violation. A reseller, now this is probably the newest variation that's meaningfully impactful because it can maintain a listing and selling permission without access to sensitive brand tools. Now the question is well, if they're going to give you the ability to mark resellers, can they prevent other resellers? And if that's true, that's de facto brand gating. Jessica says, we first started seeing this back in March with spotty access across our client base, but with Amazon's announcement in Seller Central last week, or way back in 1970, if you believe the timestamp in the news article, these features should now be live for most brand owners. For years, brands, especially smaller ones, have struggled with unauthorized resellers piling onto their listings, undermining brand value and confusing customers. While Amazon still says it's an open marketplace, these new reseller roles limitations could be the first step towards tighter brand control. Is this brand gating light, a testing ground for broader restrictions on who can sell your products, or simply an admin tool to clean up brand registry access? Jessica says, I'm cautiously optimistic. It's option one. What's your take? So I added my comment on here that I don't think there's any possibility of Amazon offering brand gating. And here's why I think ultimately they'll never do it. They have a biased reason to not. They like the price pressure and forced 1P vendor relationship margins for brands with wide distribution. So if you think about it from Amazon's perspective, they, when engaging in a large brand, let's say a brand selling $40, $50 million a year, those brands have wide distribution networks. Typically, they're in retail, et cetera. And Amazon wants those brands to sell direct via 1P to Amazon so that they get buy box control, so that they can offer that as an incentive to those brands to do 1P. Because when you don't have distribution control and it's a wild west of who can sell on the listing, there could be 30 partners. You might just be one of them as the brand owner, and the price will drop. Well, why does Amazon like that? Because they like low prices, because then more people buy the product on Amazon and people start their search on Amazon versus going to competitors like Walmart. So Amazon has a huge barrier to offer this to sellers. Now, I could, however, see one moonshot possibility, and that would be that if they broker a deal with Congress, the FTC, or any other one of their pending lawsuits to give this as an incentive to close out the lawsuit so that they don't have to give up many other things. So there's usually, when it comes to these big monopoly deals with government officials, besides the paybacks and the corruption, which will bypass those conversations, but those happen every single time, including Microsoft's and Bill Gates, which is another topic. But in any case, we'll see that Amazon will have to give up a sacrificial lamb of some sort to close out those lawsuits, to give the government politicians a talking point. So that's the only moonshot possibility that I can personally see Amazon giving brand gating to sellers, because sellers have been complaining for years about everything, and Amazon has pretty much ignored them to date. Now, Amazon every year gets their seller conferences in Seattle, and it's now New York and wherever else they're doing conferences these days, including China, where they suck at the China teat. But they get on stage and they say, oh, we care about you sellers. We're listening to you. Look at all these cool tools we're giving you. And I got to tell you, there hasn't been a cool tool release from Amazon since Brain Analytics, which was like 3 years ago. And I released the ICAP marketing method to focus on click-through rate and control your impressions and click-through rate down to a specific keyword, which was actually a really cool tool. But most of the other tools, flops, unhelpful. Even the day parting tool they released in the advertising console was kind of a joke. Like, all I could do was bid higher. I couldn't lower anything, which means Amazon just wanted us to spend more money on ads. Super helpful for Amazon, not that helpful for sellers, which means that you still, if you want to automate PPC, you still have to have an agency or a person doing macros or even a PPC software. And that kind of defeats the whole purpose. If I just want to do everything inside the console, give me the proper tools to do that. So we're not going to see Amazon give up something this large without some sort of compelled reason, in my opinion. But it is absolutely something that every seller would appreciate. And if they did that, I think that they could change the negative sentiment in the space to positive for the first time in 5 years. So that's my take. Let me know your take in the comments. My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. And if you need help with your Amazon brand, head over to myamazonguy.com and you can grow your sales with us or solve literally any Amazon problem. We'll talk to you soon.